schools are still not yet open, and online classes have to continue. But how have we been doing it? Many complain that they have not been making money. That is true, but that is about to change, because after this class you would have learned the right way to do that effectively. But I'm going to show, I know you have questions. Today is going to be loaded with questions, and we will answer all of them. So look at this slide, how to deliver effective online classes that that parents will gladly pay for. Okay, so thank you very much once again. I welcome you. As a form of introduction, this is actually how we are going to deliver those online classes that parents will gladly pay for. Number one is to convince them that online classes have come to stay. E-learning is a new normal. That's what we did. Yes, I mean that's what we did yesterday. We opened up the argument. We began by appreciating them. We presented our strong point. It was a speech. I'm telling you to also work on and give to your parent, a letter to our parents. We did that yesterday. Today we're going to look at addressing their challenges and addressing their objections. You understand? So they have challenges that are genuine. Yes. Reasons why they feel, online classes, they're not, why should we pay that much that you are asking them to pay? So those are challenges that are genuine. But they also have objections that are not completely, how do I put it now, that we as school owners have to open up their eyes and just answer those questions. We call them objections. You just need to open their mind and see and make them see why they even may be wrong on those positions. Why the third part? This third part, we will touch it today and finish it in the next class. How this is a slide. This slide is showing us how to solve the problem before us. The third part is you have to use the right software, okay, or maybe platform. Okay, so once again, as a matter of introduction, let me quickly tell us that when parents refuse to pay for your school's online classes, it may be due to several reasons. Top on the list is the perception they have about the online classes. Many of them believe that it is not thorough. Is that true? Is it not? You need to answer that. And they believe it should not last this long. Of course, many of them are just fed up. The fact is, many parents are just tired of these online classes. In the beginning of the lockdown, we thought schools would reopen very quickly, and so at that time, it was everybody was excited. We were all excited. Online classes. Oh, look at, I'm flying my online classes. Yeah, look at the online classes. Our school is online and all of that. For many of us, even we, the people running the online classes, we are getting tired. This class is about to refire your passion about that, maybe to tell you how better to go about it so that nobody gets tired. But you, because we are in this we will see this period to the end. Schools will be open, but while we wait for that reopening date, we must run school. You must not run business. You cannot close shop. Excuse me, you will not close shop. You will not down tools. You won't close shop. You will run business and make money from that school until it resumes. And one way to do that is to convince your parents to pay. To help them see reasons why they should pay for the online classes. Still continuing in my introduction, in the beginning of this lockdown, we thought schools will reopen very quickly. But 4 months on, it appears that this new normal has just come to stay. So you need to get more creative and innovative with your online classes. But that's not all. That's just not all. Parents have genuine reasons not to pay for your online classes, and those reasons have to be addressed. Those challenges have to be solved. Why those objections have to be crushed with a tenable argument, which we started yesterday. Thank you very much. Let us pray before we start the class. Learning that we have embarked on since the day one of this classes. Today is another remarkable day. Today's class will be very unusual. It will be, all the other classes have been wonderful, but today it will be we will really learn more and more than we have been learning today, in Jesus' name. We commit ourselves into your hands, our hearts. You will impart us with what is going to be taught today, in Jesus' name. This pandemic is going to be over. Our schools will reopen soon, in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so let us move ahead very fast. How to deliver? Look at the cover page. That is the first slide. How to deliver effective online classes that your parent will gladly pay for. So how to deliver effective online classes that your parents will gladly pay for. I'd like to remind you that this class is going on live on Facebook Live. It's also live on YouTube, and it is live here on Zoom. Remember also that after this series, we're going to be starting a new series. Maybe there will be a few days of break, and then we'll also be followed. There will be an additional channel, MixLR, which is an online radio, will join. That one will save your data and bandwidth. So we appreciate all who have been following you. Spending your data all along since the beginning of the classes. So if you're on Facebook Live, I say welcome. Facebook or YouTube, I say welcome to you. Thank you very much. All of what we have been talking about, and we will still be talking about. Thank you to everyone who have ordered all the books. The new book Thrive, which will contain everything we'll be talking about and even much more, because we couldn't cover. We usually we usually are not able to cover all of the slides in each class. So the book combines all. It's a huge book. How to thrive at your school business in the new school era. Thrive. And the four-legged school growth strategy is still here. The indispensable teacher. This combination of materials is just good enough to recoup yourself in preparation for the new school era. Are you losing hope? Don't lose hope. Schools will reopen. I keep telling us that every day. It's a matter of maybe a few days, a few weeks, and then we will get back to school when all is sorted out. But I don't like waiting and waiting. When you wait for something, you should be doing something. So we should not just wait without doing anything. So the right thing to do is what we are doing right now, and we'll follow through. All of what we have been talking about are available. The school transportation outsourcing service, the digital assistant service. If you want to know more of that, let us know. Thank you very much. I go back to the first slide, which I read the other time, which I'm going to repeat now. I read it the other time in my introduction. Reasons why your parents are not paying for your online classes. So what are the reasons? Before you before you know what to do about any situation, let's know the reason why it is like that. These same parents have been paying for school, are paying school fees. Why is it that all of a sudden, despite all what we have put into it, the resources we have spent, we try to impress them, and yet they are not? Of course, there are reasons, and some of them are obvious. Let's look at them. When parents refuse to pay for your school's online classes, it may be due to several reasons. Top on the list is the perception they have about the online classes. So what's the perception of your own parents? I always talk about something. You don't conduct business without waiting for feedback. You don't just give passing things across to a customer without pausing intermittently along the line to hear from them and see what they think about what you are doing. So what's the perception of your own parents about online classes? Many of them believe, it is not thorough. In the beginning of the lockdown, a lot of them believe, it's a makeshift, just a few days or weeks or months, 1 or 2 months, and they will go back. So everyone was excited about it then. And even the school, you were excited about it then. It's not thorough. Many parents believe it's not thorough and that it should not last this long. The fact is, many parents are just tired of these online classes. Are you sure your teachers are also not tired, especially when they are not being paid as much as they would have been paid had schools remained open? So in the beginning of this lockdown, we thought that schools will reopen very quickly. But 4 months on, it appears now that this is the new normal. We were talking about this yesterday. So that we must understand that you need to get more creative and innovative with your online classes. But that's not all. That other part is what we are going to be looking at today. Next point here is that on my slides, again, I tell you that these slides are going to be given out. Not free, of course, but they're going to be given out. There's 3 slides in the sub-series if you really need them. And after Monday's class, all of the orders we're having now, after Mondays, which is the third concluding part of this sub-series, we will not give them out again. So if you need them, just just order them now. They will not remain like that. Okay. All right. So the next slide here. What are their challenges? That is, what are your parents' challenges? Have you cared to know? Many of them complain of lack of mobile devices to go around the kids. They complain of power supply. They complain of internet data, and so on. You see, all of those challenges we're going to address them one by one today. Thank God. I love the way we have been having our classes. We identify the problem, we look at the perspectives, and we proffer solutions. That is how to do business or whatever it is we are doing in any endeavor. Okay, so again, okay, and so more. Some of them even complain about the effectiveness of your online classes. Question: have your online classes been effective? Are you sure that your own online classes are not only just so that the parents can see that you are doing something? Because many of us, we say, well, so that the parents will not say what is my children's school doing. So many of us started with that. So because of that, we have not really we didn't shop for the right platforms, or we didn't get it right to make sure that those classes are as effective, or at least almost as effective as the physical classes. Okay, so many more of that. If you're able to proffer the right solutions to their challenges, then their behavior will change and they will gladly pay. They will pay for the service. So in this class, we will learn how to overcome all their genuine objections, genuine challenges or objections with the right responses, but not just talking, not just response, and the right approaches, the right solutions for the parents. Then we will also advise you on the right software platforms that will deliver effective online classes. If we cannot take that part today, which is the third part, we will do it on the next class. I had wanted to spend the whole of next week, which is our concluding week, on maybe on building structures. So next week, please, let's get ready. Building structures and processes, putting structures in place and processes in place for our school against the new school era, against the reopening of school. Oh, that next week's going to be bumper, but we'll start Monday by concluding this sub-series. So let's take it from where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday, we made our request with reasons. Yesterday's class, I really loved yesterday's class. The feedback was high. We just kept getting requests for the slides and the presentation. I appreciate you all. We thank God for the opportunity. It is not it's not, we don't do this alone. It's not me alone. But for the discussion, so what we are teaching is a product of all the robust discussion we always have time to time. The calls you always call me, and sometimes we'll talk for a minute, and even has to solve certain issues. So those are the things we package and make sure that we flesh them up with the experiences. So here was our last statement in our letter, in our speech yesterday. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you for all you have paid so far. But given all these perspectives and all the perspectives that we presented yesterday, given all these perspectives that I have shown, I'm convinced that we will do this together. And I'm excited already that we will have we, the school, we will have your positive responses, even as we make known the new rates for our online classes. So let's assume your speech stopped. That was the end of your speech yesterday, and they clap for you. Wow. Oh, thank you. Then you say, well, before you ask your questions, I know your challenges. I know what is running in your mind. I know what the things running on your mind. So let's address them. That's hard to do. So we want to address them today. Now, first thing I say is, what are the reasons why your parents are not paying for your online classes? We have talked about that. I go ahead and tell you that in part 2 and 3, that is, part 2 is today, we will touch part 3, then we'll conclude it on Monday. We will address those issues that we are talking about. We will learn the right responses. We will also learn how we should practically help them solve those challenges. And then we will now learn the right software to use. So these are, next slide now, these are the objections and challenges that they quote. They are not new, so you know them. Some are genuine, some are not. They say power supply. power supply. How do we we have to run them to make sure the children stay on the laptop and all of that. Internet data, internet data is too expensive. You give them sometimes 5-6 hours, 3 children, internet data. Some people are spending up to a lot of money. Internet data, this is our video and all of that. And then they complain of mobile devices. This one is even hot. They say, well, daddy has one phone, mommy has one phone, but they have 4 children. So how do we share it? How do we ration? It's causing a lot of problem in the family. This one wants to do assignment, that one. And I don't have money to buy more devices or tablets now. Harsh economy. They say, economy is still harsh. Our income has not bounced back and all of that. Some are even saying your online classes, sir, school, your online classes are not effective. It's not effective for my kid of 3-year-old. How do you expect that and that? So those are, whether whether an objection or a challenge is genuine or not is not the issue. Hear them out. So these are the things they say. And then some will say, we are even the ones doing 50% of teaching. You say you are the teachers, you are the school, and you are giving us, in short, I can't rest, I'm not able to do my work. We are the ones doing the work. So when somebody says he's the one doing your work, he or she will be reluctant to pay you the money now. So you can understand where they are coming from. When someone has to do, maybe when there was no lockdown, they were not that committed. But now that there is lockdown, they are spending so much time to make sure that the children perform well in the online classes. And so they are like, I'm the one doing the work, and you are telling me to pay. And the last thing they talk about is that, we prefer private lessons. And somebody asked this question yesterday. I hope you are online. If you are online, let me see or get your response in the chat room. Okay, so some of them will say we prefer private lessons and tutorials. We prefer private lessons and tutorials. Some of them have gone to hire private tutors for the children. So they think, online is not necessary anymore. And some of them have enrolled the children in some lessons. And I hope you know that some of these lessons are being clamped down on by the government because they are violating social distancing rules and all of that. But you see, because not every area of the state or the metropolis will have that kind of monitoring that will go on in some places. So some people are still gathering the children. Some will say, we should not gather more than 20. So I'm gathering 5 per day or 6. So many people pay. Well, of course, people have to make ends meet. So some of your parents have patronized these ones and they are already paying. And so to pay for your own online. So I'm trying to tell you the reasons why to pay for your own, the token you are telling them to pay may be difficult. Don't worry, we will crush all that objection. We'll make the parents see the difference between all of this. So before I go ahead, I'd like you to hear this. Because I'm slowing down now and I'm reading this very slowly. I'd like you to hear this. If you are a school owner reading, I know that on this platform we are not just school owners. I know that we are also parents, and I know that parents are here, teachers are here, and also every representative of every stakeholder in that has to do with education, even from the government. So if you are a school owner reading this, I'd like to remind you that you still have a school to run. You have a school to run. And your parents are still your customers. The alternative to this, my statement, is except you are saying you want to close shop between now and when schools are going to reopen. No problem. No problem. Some of us, of course, God has helped us even beyond the school alone. But if you are not doing that, and that is what you have, remember, and I want to remind you that you still have a school to run. Your parents are still your customers and partners in progress. Please don't be discouraged with just every report flying around trying to paint schools as heartless. They said these schools are heartless. How can they be asking for money? This and that. Please don't be discouraged. The other option you have now is to have said that to shut down operations and wait. You want to shut and wait until schools are reopening. When is that going to be? Well, we hope that it will be very soon. That was how we hoped 4 months ago. Now, I'm not saying that we should stop hoping or praying. I'm saying that even while you hope and you wait, you must not be idle. You must do something. You can still see, business can still go on. That is the essence of this class. And one way to still make business go on is to get paid for your online service. If you have other alternatives, perhaps this class may not be for you, but we don't have any other choice. People like us, we don't have alternative. This is the only one we have for now. And we are not going to say because of pandemic we will run away. No, we will not run away. Pandemic came and met us. He will leave us. We will remain. You understand? This is what we have. So you have to make business continue, and business cannot go on when there's no exchange of money, exchange of value. So that exchange of value is what, just as I was teaching you the other time about how to collect your school fees, how to increase it, and how to run your school free of debtors, the same way it's our responsibility to teach you how to run your online classes and make sure that you get paid, which is what we are doing today. All right, so we don't know when schools will be open yet. We hope that very soon. So I don't like that kind of waiting, doing nothing. You don't wait doing nothing, you wait doing something. So that's a charge, and I want us to take to it, because parents have returned to work. Many of the parents have returned to work. Unlike, you see, it's not as bad as it is for schools, for the other businesses. Parent businesses have reopened. Yeah, not as smooth as it had been, but they have. But schools, the economy of the schools is also. See, what is I said in the four-legged school growth strategy, and I think in the indispensable teacher, I was doing an analysis. I was giving statistics and figures about the number of schools. The number of employment that schools generate. As people, nobody seems to look that direction. Nobody seems to hear or what we are trying to say, because private schools in Lagos alone, I should not say, you know the number of thousands of school owners schools in Lagos alone. Calculate. By the time you do that calculation, you know that the employment that generated by schools is huge. As a matter of fact, I believe that education is the largest employer of labor. Yes, the largest single employer of labor. So we cannot just, I know that somehow we will get through this, but while we wait for that economy to come back up, we can still help ourselves. We do not have to lose hope. So your parents have returned to work. Many parents have returned to work. Their livelihood is gradually being restored. So even while schools remain shut and we expect to be reopened, and parents have returned to their economic activities, then it's only proper that schools be given the opportunity, or that parents give schools the opportunity to at least request for a reasonable fee, to receive a reasonable fee in order to execute their various online programs. We broke this down yesterday very well. So in this class, I'm going to be talking to you, the school owner. I'll be talking also to the parents, or let me say I'm talking to you so you know what to tell them. So it's going to be a cycle like that. Now, your parents still need you. Yes, they have returned to work. They still need you. I hear some people say that parents can now teach their children online without teachers, since they still have to guide. I was saying the other time. So for a parent that is saying that, okay, or for parents that are saying, well, do we really need the school anymore? We are the ones teaching. No, it's not the same. I'm going to show you. So for those saying that parents don't need the schools anymore because they are now guiding the children so they don't go astray online or be exposed to hazards and all of that, that's not entirely true. It's also untrue that parents don't need the schools anymore to educate their children, since all resources are now dished online. Even if the parents know, stay and guide the children, who writes the curriculum, who plans the lessons, who structures. Education is not just about teaching and learning. No, it's about teaching the right thing. So when you are teaching a child of a 3-year-old child, our curriculums have been structured and they can only be interpreted by the teachers. A curriculum is just like a constitution that is interpreted by the judiciary, written by the legislature. The same thing with this curriculum. It's been written, of course, by education experts, and it is only teachers that are able to interpret it. Parents can only execute what have been interpreted. So what a parent can do is to help a child with what the teacher has introduced. It is not going to be the parent's job to be introducing new topics. They may know mathematics, they may know LCM, but do they know when it should come, or at what age? They may have lost, they have lost idea of how that should be done. Maybe it's been long. They also did it. Do you understand? So parents, of course, are also teachers, but there are levels of teachers. There are the teachers and professional teachers. Parents are on another level. They help towards to guide the children and take them through what the school has already introduced and interpreted. Do you get the difference? So when you have a curriculum, it is only a teacher that can interpret it in a way that will help the child, according to the definition of a teacher I gave when we were talking about productive communication with teachers. I hope you are getting it. So it is not true that parents can take over entirely the process of education or teaching the children. It's still a it's a combination. We have to do our part, but parents have to do their part. On one hand, I'm talking to the school owner. On the other hand, I'm talking to the parents, or maybe on the third hand, I'm talking to you, so you know what to tell them when they present this argument. We go ahead now very quickly, but before I go ahead, remember the books. And this is my picture. That's my face, my cool face. Thank you. We've not been showing our video. I've not been showing my video on Zoom so that we will not use too much bandwidth. All right, and these are the books. Thrive, wonderful book, wonderful title. You cannot afford to miss. You cannot afford to miss the book. I was telling everyone in last week's stretch that after the series, the prices will go back to the normal prices. For now, we have a good discount for those who want to pick 2 or more of the books together with the lecture recordings. Remember, we also have lecture recordings. Yesterday, I told you the difference between the lecture recordings and the book. Thrive is here. The 4-legged school growth strategy is here. And the indispensable teacher is also here. We also have the digital assistant arrangement and school bus outsourcing service. We go to those challenges now. Well, let's take them one by one. Let me quickly show you that slide where we itemized them. The challenges or the objections here. Look at where we itemized them. Look at the slide. About 8 of them. So beginning with power supply and internet data. So let us talk about that. Let's address these concerns are genuine. So when a parent says, "Oh, how do we get the power? Power is not constant, or power is not good in our area, and the children have to stay online." They have to stay online. Internet data is also, as a matter of fact, our internet here is weak. So here is the answer. While it may be true that parents are spending hugely on internet data and fueling of generators to make their children receive the online classes, I do not agree that internet data usage and generator fuel consumption were totally absent from our day-to-day lives before the lockdown. Sometimes we just make a lot of we give a lot of feedback and we talk a lot over these issues, but are they really as germane as we paint them? Before the lockdown, before online classes started, power has remained what it was. Internet data, parents buy data and they watch films. Even when you are not watching films, you are scrolling through Facebook and the videos are playing automatically, you are spending your data. So only that now we now have to channel that data to something more, maybe more productive. What's the implication of depriving the child of the experience that this era offers? That's the next slide. So when a parent tells you that I will not subscribe to your online classes because of the impact is having on my finances, power supply, internet data, you tell them that, okay, sir or ma, dear parent, do you know the implication of depriving the child of the experience that this era offers? This era will come now, it may not come again. You understand? But it's going to distinguish the children in future. So let me just show you what you should tell them, or what you should understand, or your own part. This era is certainly different from previous eras. As digitally, now talking about me now, as digitally savvy as I am by the grace of God, believe me, I still envy the power of exposure and ability for creativity that these new ones, these young ones are having, or that they will have as a result of the pandemic that had to force some things on us, as a result of all they have been forced to experience within a short time. I'm looking at the positives. I'm looking at the brighter side now. Yes, a lot of people are focused on the negative side of the pandemic. I'm looking at the positive side. I'm looking at the fact that some of the children have learned what they will not learn in the next 5 years. They've been forced to acquire some skills, that, many of them are now smarter. I'm looking at the positive side. So the parents need to look at that. So Dear parent, do you know the implication of depriving this child or the children of the experience that this era offers? If the children miss this experience, they may have missed something very vital, something that could distinguish them among their peers later in future. It's a fact. It's a fact. Let me tell you a little story. Maybe close to 2 decades ago, all right, between that time, we were in the university as undergraduates. And then one day, a few of my friends stood up and said, guys, listen, do we know, we were studying computer science and engineering, do we know what the industry, the people in the industry now, do we know the kind of skills they are looking out for in fresh graduates with our discipline? I mean, fresh computer science engineering graduates, do we know? Because we are just in school learning the theory and doing more of theory and less of practical, and trying to score A's and B's and get first class and 2-1 so that we graduate so that people will say we graduated with flying colors. Many people graduated with flying colors, no skill, flying colors, no virtue. You understand? Good certificate. So a few of those, so we came together and said, well, let us send 2 representatives to the market. So we sent people from our university then to the market. We sent them to go and find out for us. I had my first degree in Obafemi Law University. So we sent them to the market. We sent them to Lagos, to VI, to Broad Street. I mean, we send them to Marina, we send them to where the banks are, we send them to Lekki, we send them to the organizations that require our expertise, to ask that what are the skills they want in us. So when they got there, I'm trying to compare that experience then with what we are having now, because something will always separate a child in future, a particular competence. These are the things you are going to tell your parent. So when they came back, they said, guys, you know what? Everything that they told us, about 7 different skills that they told us, none of them, we were in 500 level at that time. None of us, we didn't have any of the skills. Yeah? We didn't have, so we were like, wow. So we've been just reading to pass since our 100 level. You know what we did? Not all of us, about 7 of us, maybe I and 2 or 3 others, we decided that we will not leave school. So we graduated, we finished our final years, and we decided that we will not leave school until we have acquired those skills. So that we will not just go out with a certificate, beautiful certificate, no skill. So I stayed in school for 4 months or 5 months after graduation, after everyone had carried their load and left. Guess what? Fast forward a few years later, 3 of those whom we did that together, 3 of my classmates, you must have heard this organization called Jobberman. They are my classmates. We are in the same class. So while they were working on that, we were working on ThinkAlive, which is now Nigeria's largest school management software and online service, online classes platform. I was working on that. I was working on that tirelessly. And then I was also thinking about starting to work on the school owners forum that we have now, because I already had a few years background running my mother's school with her, and we understood the challenges that are in that area and all of that. So fast forward now, look at it. But for that experience, there will be no impact now. The same thing I'm telling you that you can tell your parents, this experience that they are having will certainly separate, which will distinguish between these children years to come, 5 years to come, 10 years to come. Mark my words, write it down. So that is enough to convince a parent that whether you say the online class is expensive or not, it's an experience that the children must not skip. You must not allow your children skip that experience. I look back now and I appreciate that time. Sometimes I look back and say, wow, thank God for those 5 months. Those 5 months where it was like hell. There was no pocket money. They would say, oh boy, Shebi, you have graduated. Why not leave? I say, I'm not leaving. Until the people that taught me were even my junior colleagues. They had the skills I didn't have. But I stooped down to learn them programming, computer software development. Some of the things we are doing now that that by the grace of God, God is helping us. So it's an experience. So this online classes of a thing is much more than a business between school and school owner. I mean, parent and school owner. No, it is an experience that the children must have. It is forced on us, but we have to make the best of it. So a parent should not say, because of money, my children will not do online classes. Or say, he has to do it. Because when they start talking about that in future, he will also have something to say and say, we did it and we learned this and that. The children may be young now, they will not even know what they are acquiring yet. They will thank you later. They will thank you in future. I hope you got that argument. That is enough to crush that objection before your parents. So, dear parents, the sacrifice is worth it. The sacrifice is worth it. So you see that sometimes when there is a sudden increase in the cost of buying luxury, it can be justified if the new use of what had hitherto been for pleasure is now something like children's education. Parents buy data and they watch film on Netflix, they watch film on YouTube and all of that. Okay, it's not bad if we reduce our Netflix film watching time and substitute it with online classes so that the data will be saved for online classes. So we have to let them know there's no amount of money you spend on training your children, maybe educating your children, that is a waste. Anyways, you can also recommend cheaper data bundles. Some of them don't know these data bundles. Airtel, don't let me advertise for them. Okay, the network communication, the communication networks, and all of that. So you can recommend the one you are using in school that is cheap. Just recommend for them, and then let them. Some of them even know it too. So we have taken the first two objections. We have crushed those on power supply and internet data. Power supply, nobody should complain of power supply. Power supply it can be good today, but we thank God. God will help us in our country. We will overcome all of those challenges. All right, so we go to another point. Lack of mobile devices. They complain, say, mobile devices, where do we get, how do I begin to buy, when I now begin to buy mobile devices for each child in the class now? I mean, each of my children, I can't afford it at this time. Okay, so what is the solution to that? Simple solution. Please, school, structure your lessons. Understand the kind of parents you have. Some parents, that is not their problem. As a matter of fact, some parents, some caliber of parents, their own children have two devices or three. They have laptop, they have tablet, they have phone, and that's not their problem. But for some people, so you should understand, it doesn't put you at a disadvantage. Excuse me. You just have to understand the kind of parent, the caliber of parents you have. So, school, structure your lessons. If possible, reduce your lessons to fit the caliber of parents you have. So online classes should not be as much as the physical classes. Imagine when each child is having 8 hours of homework. I mean, they will have 6 hours of online classes and then maybe 6 hours of homework. I mean, how do you want them to cope? No, I don't want them, they won't cope. Online classes are better short. They are better short and impactful. You understand? So that the devices will go around. And for parents, if your mommy has a phone and daddy has a phone, I think that's enough to even take care of 4 children. Yes. Maybe, you know what some parents will do? Some parents went to buy another phone that is not smartphone, small phone that they can just use to make call while the children are using, the one they call, don't let me call it here, you understand, that normal small phone that is not, so that you can be using that one to make your calls while your children are using the smartphone, the Android, the iOS phone to take their online classes. You get that? So that should not be an issue. That should not be an issue. So we go to the argument of harsh economy, no money. First of all, I told you, your parents have money. When customers tell you there's no money, the point is that, what they are trying to say is that I may have cash in my bank account, but I don't have your own money now because you are not number one of my money disbursement priority list. And we've said a lot about that, but don't worry, I'm not going back to that. So when they say harsh economy, no money, I can't pay that amount. I can't pay that amount. I know how much we are charging, the ranges of the fees we are charging for our online fees, and I can tell you clearly that it is not outrageous. It is not outrageous. So you have to work on your parents. So you can say, dear parents, please Don't see the sacrifices you are making and you are going to make as punishment or gimmicks from schools to get you to pay money. And then schools, you too, please don't mandate such fees and don't mandate such fees. I've said that before. And again, parents, please don't ignore the fees. It is for our children's good. You see, all hands must be on deck and everyone must make their own part of the sacrifices necessary. The question is, the online classes fee, it's not that they are not as much as the school fee. So why would parents say there's no money to pay? It has to be some other reasons which we are going to get to. So that one has been taken care of. There's no issue in that. Nobody, people cannot tell you there's no money. There's no issue in that. Maybe there are some things you are not doing right. So we are going to the part of your online classes. Are your online classes effective? Maybe your own online classes are not effective also. Don't mind me here in this slide. I jumped from 4 to 6, but I didn't actually jump. I merged 2 points together where I said no harsh economy, no money, and then some are saying the economy is just bouncing back and all of that. You can. So here is the 6th challenge or objection. Your online learning. When a parent says your online learning is not effective for my kids, your online learning is not effective. Okay, question, school, how effective have your online classes been? How effective? So parents may be saying your online classes are not effective. So question now, how effective have your online classes been? Now, I want to correct some things. Please let's look at this together. If you are using just WhatsApp for online classes, then you need to make sure that lessons are a combination of video, images, and text. See, online classes are not effective if the teacher cannot talk to the children, be it live or via recorded videos. It doesn't have to be live. So it has to maybe two ways now. It's either the teacher is teaching live, or the teacher records the lesson. Records it very clearly in video with all the teaching tools and repeating his or her words clearly and slowly, assuming in her mind that the children are there. That one is even, I love that one, because that one you have the time to do you prepare the lesson notes and then you convert it to video content. That is online classes. Online classes, see, if the teacher cannot talk to the children either live or via recorded video lessons, see, for online classes there must be a means of effective feedback between teacher and student. Now look at what we do with WhatsApp most times. Dropping text on WhatsApp or video file or voice note on WhatsApp, that is not online classes. That is just a makeshift online class where so that they will not say we are not doing anything. When you want to, you can use WhatsApp is a medium. It doesn't have the right to. So maybe you want to start dropping that video on WhatsApp. Fine. I don't know how you are going to do it, but you may still make it so, but there has to be content. What makes online class effective is not just the platform, it's the content. There must be a careful development of content. You must have converted your mathematics lesson to video with enough annotations and explanation and imagery. There has to be visual and audio at the same time. Are you getting it? So I'm sorry, please. I'm not trying to stop you I'm not selling anything. Of course, we have Thinkalai online class platform. We have been saying that before now, but this is not because of that. I'm just saying it the way it should be. So check your software, check your platform. So if a parent says your online classes are not effective, there is a platform for every age category. There is. Well, the younger the children, the more the participation of whoever is their guardian or parent at home, we know. But it can be effective. Yes, it can. It can. But then I have to recommend. Well, I will have to recommend. When you are doing something, you recommend what is the best that people have been using. I recommend Thinkalai online classes platform. Many of us have the experience of Thinkalai. Thinkalai is so robust. It's such is such that your teachers have the freedom to prepare their lessons. They upload their lessons. There's a feedback channel. There's live feedback channel between the teacher and the child, and it's so robust, very beautiful interface. As we speak, Thinkalive had been, even before the lockdown, is Nigeria's largest school management software with the largest number of students on it. So the lockdown even made it bigger, and then it made more schools common. So you have a large family in Thinkalive. So I'm officially announcing to you that Thinkalive school management software and online class platform had always been the official platform when it comes to school software for the School Owners Forum. Many of your members are already using this platform. I invite you on board. How much is it? It is as cheap as 15,000 naira per month. It can be as cheap as that, depending on your number. So we go ahead to keep crushing the objections and addressing the challenges. When they tell you we are the ones doing 50% of the teaching, so when the parents say, oh, we are the ones doing 50% of this teaching, we are the ones doing 50%, just tell them we are all stakeholders in this business. The content comes from the school. We both do the work. Parents must play their role. You may be doing 50% of the teaching and are assisting. The curriculum was developed in the school, you understand, and interpreted in the school. So it's this time where we find ourselves, none of both the teacher and the parent, we must not fail our duty. We must not fail, because if we fail, the children will suffer. Children will bear the brunt in future. So that takes care of that. So when they say we prefer private lessons and tutorials, hey, short, I love this place. Tell them private lessons cannot offer structured education that follows the curriculum and manages each child's gradual development. Remember that even when schools were open, private lessons were to complement what we do in school. The child must never miss the opportunity of gathering with his student, whether physically or virtually. It's important. So many of the tutorials that students attend are set up solely for profit. And I'm not indicting anyone. Tutorials are wonderful. Many of the tutorials that are trying to, of course, you know that tutorials are set up for profit. It's set up to augment what has been done in school. So what we should do is that tutorials are good. So when schools were open, parents still patronize tutorials. Students go to tutorials. It's okay. So it should not now take the mainstream now because schools are short. Schools are still offering online classes, and they should still keep offering them. Private teachers stay with the child on selected hours and days, not always, and the children still associate online. Do you understand? So private teachers stay with the children on selected hours and days, not always. It's not many times it's not consistent like the school. Also, let's not forget that we have to be responsible for our health. And not disobey health authorities' guidelines. Private teachers private teachers sometimes are in a hurry. So if you are a private teacher, you may be learning from this. You can correct it. Private teachers are usually in a hurry because they have 5 or 6 places to get to, especially this lockdown. They are on demand, so they have to move. But not so with the school. The school is still responsible for your child's gradual. I said it. The school is still responsible for your child's gradual development, with or without the opening of schools. So private teachers or private lessons should only complement school. Tell them all of this, or digest and put your own. It's important. The private lessons can continue. The private teacher can still keep coming, but schools, the children must go to school, whether physical or virtual. On Monday, we will compare more online classes apart from Thinkalive and how we can combine them. So I hope you have enjoyed today's class. So that is Monday's topic. But next week, from Tuesday to Friday, we will be looking at how to set up the right structures, the right processes, and structures that we got wrong before the schools were shut. We will now try to set up new structures and processes ready to be activated the moment schools reopening. Thank you very much. Let me go to the chat. I really appreciate everyone for joining this broadcast every day. I am David Adeniji, by the grace of God, convener of the School Owners Forum. We'll meet again on Monday, but before you go, let us go to the chat. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the great audio. We appreciate everyone for
coming to today's class. The class continues tomorrow, on Monday, the concluding part of this series. But then the whole of next week will be dedicated to finishing up what we started from the first day. We're going to be looking at how to build processes and systems, structures in our school, putting things in place in preparation for the new school. Just as soon as we will reopen, you'll go back with full force. Please, you don't want to miss next week's class. I thank you for the feedback. I'm seeing everything. I think we have shared our contacts. If you need anything, just let us know. If you need the slides, it's available. If you need other things, there are questions there that I cannot take now. Please, I'd like you to share them with me either privately or on the WhatsApp chat. On the issue of private lessons, some parents complain about the inability of the child to respond during teaching. You have situations where parents believe that the children respond more directly to the class teachers than to parents, hence the reluctance to participate, especially children of the issue. I understand, and we are not discarding those private lessons, even though we sound a note of caution concerning health. Please be sure that where your children are, or you understand what I'm saying, the health exigencies of this period. But then, even at that, a child must not lose the opportunity of associating with his friends online, because whatever they have apart from the online lessons should be additional. It should be supplementary. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to fight for the schools. No, that's how it should be. But the truth of the matter is, it is only schools that offer professional, when you talk about education in a professional way. So you cannot discard that because it's an era where things are online and all of that. I understand the age of the children. Somehow, please allow the schools to do their job. Parents should trust the schools also. So we schools also, we should deliver what we have promised. Thank you very much. We'll meet again on Monday. Please have a nice weekend. All of us in the studio here, thank you. But once again, I'm David Adeniji of Renard School. So let's meet on Monday by God's grace. Bye bye.